his technique is not the best, but the way that it comes out, you can feel that emotion coming out. This is where it's like you hit the jackpot. So I think if you go to his image, his tattoos, the way he dresses, obviously he just changed his appearance with his country face. Now he has this like the leather boots, and he has the hat, like the cowboy hat. These things keep changing because he changes accordingly, but he's so true to himself that it's just comes out right.
How do you compare? I like to jump through this one. You have Travis Scott, who takes things to a whole nother level, for example, where he collaborates with very well-known high-end fashion brands. I believe that he put together recently a line with Louis Vuitton accessories, and really mind-blowing things because it's all conceptual art. I mean, he made a pair of pants which are not really pants to begin with. They're primarily an accessory that a person would wear. However, they also happen to be a pair of pants. Like, that's where they practically fit on the body. And he makes different types of pieces, like bags, things that you know, it's not just practical. It goes far above and beyond that, and caters to the specific tastes of people that simply want to collect things of that kind of quality or nature. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but you see Post Malone, he is an example of a prime consumer. He knows how to dress himself up and present himself and conduct a leading role. Others can go ahead and they can follow him and they can adapt and adopt his brands and thoughts. And then you have somebody that goes and they create their own line, and that line isn't even intended for the regular masses that are listening to his music. It's meant for a different audience. What do you make of these different strategies that artists take to scale up their businesses to go above and beyond the music alone?
I mean, I think it's first of all, I think Travis Scott is a great example. It's like a great comparison if you take it to Post Malone, because they're both different, but you can see a lot of similarities. I mean, it will be a pretty abstract look of things, but if you take Travis Scott listeners, if you try to imagine where would you hear Travis Scott, like in what situation? For me, I would imagine like in a convertible car, you know, like driving down LA with like full volume and probably be night drive. That's just how I imagine it. It's like it's a specific type of people that would listen to it to a specific situation. It doesn't necessarily mean that others won't hear it or won't like it. It's just that the ideal, I want to say the ICP, the ideal customer, it would be those, for example. It's the same thing as it's branding, basically. It's the same thing as Post Malone, where he has those different people in different situations where they can relate to that music, where it would be the optimal situation for them to hear him. So I think the comparison is great. I forgot about the second thing that you mentioned with the companies.
Well, yeah, so one of them is like an example of a prime consumer in Post Malone's case, right? I don't believe that he has his own line. Like also Drake, he has his own line of clothing. There's others. I don't want to mention some of them because they're caught up in entanglements that I don't want to mention. But there were early examples of other famous artists that figured out how to make perfumes and accessories, etc. It's a known concept. But here you have someone who buys things and wears them, and he doesn't profess to create them. And then you have another person here who he's already gone to the point where he used to just be the primary consumer. I'm sure he still does buy other things and it's known for it, but he also makes his own stuff. And it's not things that are audio based. These are things that are visually based. It's an aesthetic. He's looking for an aesthetically, visually pleasing thing, in addition to the auditory pleasing things that he does. I imagine he even does them together, right? He'll, like Travis would listen to his music and create, and then sometimes listen to someone else and create as well. And Post Malone is creating music, so it's like there are different loops, that they're on different creative loops. It seems like, just you can see from the outside, generally things. If you look deeper into them and their processes as a manager, as a artist manager, what can you identify about these creative processes that your artists go through and how that contributes to their ability to produce more of that high quality creative material?
So I think it's a great question, and I think the best way to look at it is really looking, if we talk about the aesthetic side of things, specifically within Post Malone and Travis Scott. Would you agree that Travis Scott's fans would probably buy more merch when it comes to to appearance, clothes, for example.
Of his things, yes.
Correct, correct. Talking about branding completely, like his brand, let's say he has his own hat, for example, or
Totally.
some sort of a line. And the reason is most, in my opinion, again, it's because that's what he that's what he shows off. Like his music is about, at the end, at its core, trap music. And then what he does specifically within trap music is about expressing who he is in that financial situation, in his style. When I'm saying style, I mean like physically, where, for example, if I take Post Malone, I'm sure he has his own merch in some sort of a way. Not sure if it's
Mhm.
completely branded as like a line of clothing, but he does have merch, and the probability that his audience would buy his line of clothing, it will probably be good, but not as Travis Scott, because that's not what he tried. That's not his trademark, and that's not what he's trying to sell you. It's like the ideal concept of what he does. Post Malone is like, you feel that he's a bit more connected to himself. He's trying to express what he has to say. Not that Travis Scott is not doing that. He's just doing it differently. He's expressing different personalities, traits. So again, my opinion, I think if you take them both and give them both line of clothings, I think Travis Scott's fans will go much, much stronger on buying those, just because of what he's trying to
And do you find, I mean, we're looking at various business models for scaling up in the music industry. Do you find that the dominance that these artists have in the market already, or their virality on Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, etc., is actively shaping the real world career moves for your artists, and how?
I want to say no, and I'll explain. When you get to a certain point of success, like to a point where it's not, I want to say it's even not scalable anymore, because you pretty much reached almost like the max limit in even your imagination. You are a thought leader in a way. You are like setting the tone, but you're not necessarily teaching or educating the, let's call it, the young generation that will come after you. You need to be aware of that, and you need to do it intentionally if that's what you're aiming for.